Welcome to 'Cause We're Nerds, the podcast that covers trends and new releases in comics, movies, video games, board games, and much more. I'm your host Caleb, and with me is my brother Jacob.
And here I am.
The summer movie craze is here, and that means it's time for Movie Madness. From now until July, we'll be reviewing a newly released movie nearly every week. But in this brief break, we're taking a look towards the future of the MCU. What does it have in store? Find out on this week's episode of 'Cause We're Nerds. I put on a really brave face for that intro, but man, I'm tired.
Man, Caleb, I bet you all, but that sounded stupendous.
How you been, man? You been doing well?
I'm doing pretty good. Just done with school, so just kind of chilling. Started work again. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the future of the MCU, but real quick before we do that, I kind of wanted to take a look back. Jacob, how are you feeling about Endgame now that we're about a week and a half removed from it?
You know, Caleb, I don't know, man. If I just had to, put some dollar amount about how I'm feeling on it. I don't know, just some random number. I'd say about 2.2 billion, like that's how good I'm feeling about it still. if I was just to throw out some random number, I think I would choose that number, which also happens to be how much money it's made so far.
Okay. Is that like updated for today?
Yeah, today.
Wow. Okay. So I know that it's number 2 now. It beat Titanic. The question is it going to beat Avatar? And I don't know. I thought Avatar was closer to 2 billion. I looked the other day. It's actually at 2.7, I think, 2.8, which is really high. So I don't know if it'll beat it. I hope so. I think it could, but we've got a lot of movies coming out soon. So who knows?
Yeah. If you want the exact number, super up to date, Caleb, it's at 2,238,487,000 and some odd dollars.
Okay. We'll
so
see.
It's getting up there. It hasn't been in theaters that long still, though.
No, it hasn't even been 2 weeks yet.
Exactly. So I'm telling you, I'm betting that it's going to bank 3 billion. That's my bet.
If it wasn't for all the movies that are about to come out, I'd say yeah, for sure. But I don't know if they'll take away from it.
Fair enough.
All right. So yesterday, we got a brand new trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home. And it's the first trailer I've ever seen that has a spoiler warning at the beginning of it, which, was nice of them to do. They do the spoiler warning, and then if you didn't get a chance to go back to the computer, you are completely spoiled on what happens in Endgame in the first 5 seconds.
Yeah.
By the way,
mega spoiled.
I think this is obvious, but if you haven't seen Endgame, don't listen to this, because we'll probably talk about spoilers. It's the future of the MCU, so.
And what are you doing? Like, come on. What are you doing?
We're trying to get to 3 billion. Do your part.
Yeah. This episode's literally called 'Cause We're Nerds. Are you really a nerd if you haven't seen Endgame yet?
Yeah, we've given you time. There's no excuses.
There was a grace period there for the ticket sales, but now there's no grace period.
Yeah, so in the first 5 seconds, it's like, oh yeah, Tony's dead.
Yeah. And it shows like a a painting. That was hard for me to say. Yes, thank you. Of him, and I'm like, I was happy to see this, Caleb, because I'm like, okay, awesome. I'm glad Endgame they're immediately showing that it like has effects in the world. People aren't just like moving on super quick. So at least Spider-Man, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Well, the fact that there's murals means that there's a lot of people that haven't moved on. True, and interestingly, it also means that they know what he did, which means people must have told other people, because the only people that were there were like superhero people.
True. Well, superhero people, and you gotta think all the thousands of wizards and...
I was including them in superhero people.
Oh, okay, well, yeah. But some of those are like high school students, probably, so like, yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah. That's what everybody does. They go to high school during the week, do some wizarding during the weekend, visit the mirror dimension.
Did you see Harry back there?
Of course.
Yeah.
Me and Harry are great friends.
Rocking the glasses.
Yes.
That was a really bad joke. Anyway.
Moving on. But yeah, I really liked this trailer. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, I like this trailer. I remember when they announced the name of the movie, and I was very lukewarm on it. I don't hate it as much because I've just grown accustomed to it. I still don't think it's a great thing to hang your title on for the trilogy. I mean, what are they going to call 3? Back at Home? You know, I mean, it's like Homestead, Spider-Man Homestead.
Caleb, no. It's Homecoming, Fall From Home, Spider-Man finally buys a home. Duh.
Spider-Man settles at home.
Spider-Man, home surfing. Genius. They introduce Silver Surfer, they visit some homes together. It'd be a solid movie.
Spider-Man, Google Home.
Oh man, it's like the new Jarvis, but it just sounds like Google Home.
Right. Anyway, I really like this trailer. I think it's better than the last one. It does introduce us to a bunch of like fallout of Endgame, which is really cool. I do like the way that's looking. The acting here just looks phenomenal, just from the trailer, which is usually kind of hard to tell. But I liked it a lot. I like that Happy is in this a lot. But what I am really a big fan of is the fact that they are introducing the multiverse with this movie, which people sort of say they did it with Ant-Man. People sort of say they did it with Doctor Strange. I don't really consider those multiverses, because the multiverse, as we think of it, is basically alternate versions of us, not weird dimensions.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I consider in Ant-Man and in Doctor Strange, I consider them not necessarily alternate dimensions, but dimensions that are within our dimension, if that makes sense. Like they're all kind of one thing. However, this movie definitively sets with Mysterio that there is a multiverse.
Which is cool. And I haven't watched it. I probably won't. Literally right before we started recording, I saw that they had released the first clip from the movie. I don't usually watch clips from movies because I want to see it in theaters. But the title says that it establishes the MCU as Earth 616, which is a very nice reference to the comics because the main Marvel universe is Universe 616.
I see. I just wanted to kind of point out a few things about this trailer, just super quick.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about the future of the MCU.
I wasn't going to be done with it, so yeah.
Oh, that was sweet. Okay. I just had 3 thoughts about this trailer that made me think about the future of the MCU. Okay. First one is well, my first 2 are worries, and my next one is a good thing. Okay. So I'm gonna start off with the bad things, then go to the good thing. Okay. One, there's a line in here that Peter says that definitely says, the world's ready for the next Iron Man, or the world needs the next Iron Man. That makes me kind of worry. I hope they don't, like, try to push out, like, another Iron Man, or...
No. I think his point is that Iron Man was the protector of the world. He was the public figure, especially of the Avengers, and the world needs a replacement for that.
Well, see, I thought about that, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I mean, maybe... It was just on the back of my mind. I'm not incredibly worried about it. It was just kind of there, and I thought I'd throw it out. Something I am a little bit more worried for and a little bit discouraged, but they're kind of fixing this movie a little bit, was I like the Iron Spider suit. I think it's cool. However, I'm kind of upset that he still is using it here, and I know he won't be using it once he goes to London or wherever because he doesn't pack it, but I'm kind of upset he's using it at the beginning because it makes him really OP, and I kind of like the original Spider-Man more, where he doesn't have all these technological advanced things. Granted, his suit does have like a Jarvis-like thing, but it's not as much as Iron Spider.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's probably going to get damaged pretty early on, or maybe late in the movie. It's going to get damaged at some point, and he's not going to be able to use it anymore. There's not going to be anyone around to fix it. I was just going to say, I don't even think he packs it. I'm pretty sure that was in the very first trailer that ever dropped. Yeah. But I think at some point in this movie, it's going to get damaged. Maybe it's before he leaves, so that they don't have to deal with that in future movies. Because I don't think they're going to want to use that in his future appearances, and if they don't do something to it, there's no reason for him not to.
But here's my problem is Peter Parker is also supposed to be one of the smartest people in the MCU, and so it's kind of upsetting if something does happen and he can't fix it.
Well, here's the thing. He's not supposed to be one of the smartest people in the MCU. That's in the comics, and he's not even necessarily one of the smartest. He's just really smart.
I would say like top 50.
That's a lot of people.
Top 20? I'd say top 20.
I'd say maybe top 50, but not top 20.
Okay.
But I think that this version is different, and even if he wants to be able to grow into that, he can. I mean, we see him at one point with a hologram thing on his arm that's very Iron Man-esque. It almost looks like he did that himself. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. It would be nice to have him back in the other suit. I like it better.
Okay. And then my last thing, which is definitely a bonus. I love the scene in this trailer where he's in the bank or the restaurant or whatever and takes those bad guys out. Like, it makes me have the feeling of the Spider-Man 2 game.
That's what you were talking about.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about... So Jacob messaged me about this earlier. I thought you were talking about the scene where they're sitting at a bar.
No.
Because, that's a restaurant.
No. I'm talking about when it first opens and... like the very first action-y thing.
Okay.
And because the cops are there and Spider-Man like hits his shoulder and he's like, I'm too busy doing your job.
It feels like he's coming to his own as Spider-Man, which is something we didn't get last time.
Yeah, he's truly your like friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here, and I like it.
Right.
That's it.
All right, so I've got some thoughts about this. I've got some predictions, some speculation on this trailer. So we see that Mysterio comes in, and he's from another Earth, and I've seen a lot of speculation online that he's lying about that. I don't think that's the case. I think it would be weird for him to lie because Nick Fury's there and Nick Fury's backing it up. Nick Fury knows what's going on, right? Like, he always knows. So in order for that not to be true, there would still have to be a multiverse. So it would seem really weird. Plus, I think they're using that to justify the way he looks and his powers. Which brings me to my first wild speculation moment. Let's say for a moment that Mysterio in this movie is not using effects. Like, he's not using real stuff. He's actually using magic, which is what it looks like. Which would make a little bit more sense for his power set. What if he's the Sorcerer Supreme of his Earth?
Oh my goodness. My mind is blown.
I mean, like, that could work. Even if they bait and switch us, like they probably will, and make him the villain... Like, it would still make sense. Like, maybe that's how he got to that world. Maybe that's how he brought the elementals in, if he, in fact, does do that. Because he's the Sorcerer Supreme, he knows, and so he's coming here to kind of conquer this area.
That is really cool. I'm, like, trying to think about it, because, like, I hadn't really thought about that, because... Yeah.
The silence.
That's interesting. See, because I did not think of the multiverse having to do directly with this movie. Yes, I know that he says he's from another Earth, and I get how that's kind of directly doing it. In my mind, I was thinking, okay, they said he was from another Earth instead of this Earth because they want to go ahead and introduce it ahead of time. That way, when they want to bring it in, for example, I definitely think they're going to do more with it this phase because it's a cosmic phase. So I could definitely see them doing more with it. But I figured they were doing it here just to kind of introduce it to viewers and not really do anything with it.
I'd seriously doubt that they'd put it in the trailer if it wasn't a big part of the film.
That's a really interesting outlook. The only thing that I would say... Yeah, but never mind the splicing. I was going to say, you don't see him really do any, like, symbols or anything.
Yeah, when you see him do any magic with his hands, he's got, like, the magic symbols in front of his hands like Doctor Strange.
Does he?
Yeah.
Here's another plot twist. What if he's not the Sorcerer Supreme? What if he's Dr. Stephen Strange on his planet?
Okay. That would also be interesting. I could go for that.
Yeah. Like, he comes and he's like, what if they had like a funny callback moment? He's like, oh, I'm Doctor Strange. And he goes, oh, I'm Spider-Man. I mean, Peter Parker. And like, cause, yeah. It'd be funny.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
I think the Sorcerer Supreme is probably more likely out of those two. Yeah, that's really cool. And it'll be really...
He could also just be a sorcerer.
You're right. I was just gonna say, it's gonna be really interesting to see how it plays out, because I agree with you. I'm pretty certain they're gonna bait switch us here. I mean, I personally think it's kind of boring to have 3 giant villains that are made out of 3 different things.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think and Marvel's better than that. I don't think they would just make a movie like that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the big question is, when you say multiverse in a Spider-Man property, what's the first thing everybody thinks of?
What do you mean?
Come on, Jacob, this is easy.
Like the game?
Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Spider-Verse.
Oh, well, yes, I was thinking... the first thing I go to is Shadow of Dimensions, because that game is amazing.
It's the same concept,
but same
right?
thing, yeah, same thing.
Multiple Spider-Men. I haven't seen anybody speculate on this, about whether or not they're going to do a Spider-Verse in the MCU. I don't think they're going to, at least not right now, because of the success of the animated movies. And I think Sony is going to want to keep that for those animated movies.
Now, what if... Hear me out. Okay? They have a multiverse. This is actually extremely important, because this means that if they wanted to, Venom and Spider-Man could now be connected by saying they were on different planets.
Therefore, just that.
Being in the same universe overall, and... Actually, say what you were going to say first.
I was going to say not just that, but this gives them an in to bring in the X-Men.
Yes, that's... Okay, good. Okay, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many possibilities now that they've said this, and I think it'd be really cool if Sony and Marvel was kind of working behind closed doors, and they had decided that, yes, Marvel, you can use Venom if you want. We'll keep the same deal, but you can use Venom, and I think that'd be really cool. I don't think that's the case, because Venom did so well for them. I think they're going to want to keep it separate still. But this would be a fantastic, fantastic end for the X-Men.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're going to do it, because you would still have to do something. I mean, I guess you could say when the snap ripped a hole, it also transported things over. Maybe that's how Mysterio's over here, but that could be how the mutants come over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it works as well for Fantastic Four. I think it'd be more natural if the Fantastic Four were created in that world in 616. But the X-Men, for sure. Or it could be that when the people were brought back, some of them were mutated when they were brought back, and that brings in the mutants.
Interesting. What if they do something really weird with the Fantastic Four? What if they don't go with the original origin story? So, what if... Hear me out. What if the Thing is actually an alien? Because think about it. We've seen so many different aliens that are kind of the same thing as him. For example, in the first Thor movie, we saw Korg's kind, and then we see Korg, and
that was
Korg
the second
is kind
one,
of...
but yeah.
Second one, yeah, sorry, in Dark World. And then you see Korg, which is kind of a bluish color. What if they bring it in like the Thing is actually Korg's race?
That would be boring, because the most interesting thing about the Thing is that he is a human that has been turned into this monster. Not that he's just a monster.
Plot twist. What if they bring in Korg and they turn him into a human?
The Fantastic Four with Korg as the Thing.
Boom.
Well, what if they're going through the credits and they're like, this guy is Mr. Fantastic, this guy is Invisible Woman, Korg as the Thing.
That'd be awesome. I don't know. I don't think that's a real possibility. I wanted to throw it out for argumentation's sake.
Yeah.
Now, talking about the multiverse, there is something I really, really want to see, Caleb. And this is kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but I'm going to go in and say it anyways, because I'll forget if I don't say it. I think this is the perfect opportunity, especially with the multiverse, to introduce 2 teams. Okay? I would love for there to continue to be the Avengers, you know, Captain Marvel, War Machine,
Everyone else is dead.
yeah, I was like, wait. You know, but those people, Black Panther, you know, have those people be the Avengers. I would love for Spider-Man to kind of see what Tony did as a leader, step back and be a leader, however, not for the main Avengers. I would love for him to step back and have a younger group, kind of like the Young Avengers, and just start out with a few people, maybe 2 or 3, you know, and maybe introduce them. They came into the multiverse, or there have been these kids hiding out, and after the snap, you know, they decided they wanted to come out and show what they can do. And, but I still want to see a spider-like character in the Avengers, and I think this would be awesome, and you're probably not going to like this. I would love to see Silk as an Avenger. I think she fits, in my opinion, I think she, not perfectly, but I think she fits the best out of a lot of the different Spider-Man that you could possibly bring in.
I think she has an interesting origin. Some people might disagree with me on that, but I don't think you can do that origin in the MCU right now. I don't think it makes sense. So if they're going to do that, I would rather them bring in a different female spider and have them do that.
Okay. I was just thinking if you did her, you would probably, the way they would have to do it, she would probably be from the multiverse, I would think. But I mean, maybe not. I was just trying to think of really cool things that I want to see. And I would love to see Spider-Man kind of be the leader of a younger Avengers. I think that would be super, super cool. I think it would do really, really well.
Well, I think what would be really cool, too, is you know how the Russo brothers keep wanting to do a Secret Wars movie?
Yes.
Do a Secret Wars movie, but instead of it being on an alien planet where they've brought people from Earth, it can be on an alien planet where they've brought people from different dimensions. And it's alternate versions of our heroes that we've never seen before.
So kind of like Contest of Champions.
Yeah, sort of like that.
Huh, that'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
See, it's times like this that I wish Marvel would do like one-shoots, you know, like a movie where it's not related to the rest of the universe.
Right.
Because I think they could do so many cool things that I don't think we're going to get the chance to see, at least for a long time. But they could introduce it, and if it does well, go ahead and try to incorporate it into the main universe.
Well, the good thing about this is it does give us some leeway with Disney Plus to where they can do live action stuff that is connected to the MCU, but it doesn't have to fit exactly. And if it doesn't, it can just be set in a different, not universe. Or I guess it is universe. A different universe.
That's very true. I didn't think about that. Wow, this one line that was dropped in this movie is like...
Right. It's massive.
So many openings. Yeah.
It's got a lot. But you know what else has a bunch of openings, Jacob?
What?
The future of the MCU.
Yes.
Today, Disney released a whole bunch of release dates for its future calendar, including, which we're not going to talk about, 3 new Star Wars movies. Starting in 2022, then another one in 24, and the last one in 26.
I know we're not talking about it. However, have they said the names or what they are?
They have not. We don't know if this is Rian Johnson's trilogy, or if this is the trilogy that the Game of Thrones people were working on. All we know right now is that they have release dates.
Okay. Awesome.
One other thing I saw on there, which is interesting, I don't watch Bob's Burgers, but apparently they're making a Bob's Burgers movie, and it comes out next year.
Live action?
I don't think so.
That would be horrifying.
That would be horrifying. All right. Marvel movies. They have dated several Marvel movies. At this point, the only movie that we know for sure that is definitely coming out is Spider-Man Far From Home that is releasing this year. Beyond that, there are some release dates for Marvel movies. No actual movies are tied to them yet, though. And none of the movies that we pretty much know are in development have technically been officially confirmed, or officially announced, rather. I mean, people have talked about them, people have said they're in development, but we don't really know where. So, Not next year, or it is next year. Man, wow, it's 2019. Weird times, man. Next year in 2020, we're only getting 2 Marvel movies. The first one's going to be May 1st. The second one's going to be November 6th. The following year, in 2021, we are going back to 3. We'll get February 12th, May 7th, and November 5th. That's really interesting because those are very spread out. Marvel has not done that yet, to my knowledge. I'm trying to think. Ragnarok came out pretty late. What else came out that year? Black Panther came out in February.
Yeah.
I guess they might have done it that year. I guess they were spread out that year. Black Panther, and then Infinity War. No. I'm getting my years mixed up. What came out? What came out in 2017? Let me look this up. Marvel movies.
Is that Spider-Man?
2017. List of Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. All right, here we go. Sorry, guys. Okay. So, in 2017, we had Guardians 2 in May, Spider-Man in July, and then Thor in November. So, we haven't had them spread out this way. We've had them front-loaded. We've had them back-loaded. We've never had them evenly dispersed through the year. So, that's an interesting note. And then the next year in 2022, it's kind of the same thing. We have one in February 18th, May 6th, and then a little bit earlier in July 29th.
I like this.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of it being spread out.
I think so. I kind of wish 2022 was in November as well.
Yeah. I wonder why they choose not to do that.
I don't know.
It makes more sense. The longer they're spread apart, I feel like the more profit maximizing area they could have.
Yeah, I don't really know how they pick. I know some of it has to do with the other movies that are slated for release around those times.
True.
So they kind of have to look for open areas in the calendar. But, yeah, that's cool.
So knowing these dates, Caleb, and knowing that we don't really know what's going to be made, and that there are some movies that we think are in production but have not been officially announced, just like you previously said. What movies do you think are going to go into these spots?
I'm glad you asked, because that's what I wanted to talk about. Originally, Guardians 3 was supposed to come out next year, and I'm pretty sure they removed one of their movies, their dates from next year, so I think that was that movie. So, the movies that I think they have in development right now are Shang-Chi, which is a new character, he's martial arts based, The Eternals, which is a new property, they're space people, Guardians 3, obviously, potentially a Thor 4, a Spider-Man 3, I'm assuming, will come at some point. A Doctor Strange 2 has been talked about, probably an Ant-Man 3 at some point. I feel like I'm missing some, but I'm not sure what I'd be missing. Thoughts?
I almost said Avengers, but I don't think they'll have another Avengers movie.
Obviously.
Yeah. Black Panther.
Captain Marvel and Black Panther. There we go. Those are the two I'm missing. So, Captain Marvel, let me type those so I don't forget. And Black Panther. All right. So here's where I am with these. Spider-Man 3 can't be less than 2 years away. So at minimum, that's in 2021. But based on how they've released movies in the past, I think that one might be 2022. So it's going to be spaced out a bit more. So I guess we'll look at next year first. 2020.
Okay.
What do you think these two movies are?
Okay. I think that... Are we choosing from this list, or are we just choosing period?
I mean, you can choose period. This is just a list of movies that I think they have in development.
Okay. So, I think that it's the cosmic phase, so I think they're going to want to launch... I think they're going to launch hard cosmic. I think they're going to introduce, and their first movie is going to be cosmic, which counts out a lot of these. I don't think Thor 4 is going to happen at all, actually. I think Thor's just going to be part of the Guardians now.
Really?
I don't think you'll have any more solo movies, at least for the next 3 years. I don't know why exactly, I just do. I think Captain Marvel would be too soon to release next year, considering they just came out with one. So I think that one of these movies next year is going to be a Doctor Strange 2. And I think, it's hard because I want to say The Eternals, but if I had to put money on it, I think they're waiting for 2021 for The Eternals.
Why is that?
I don't know. I feel like it's a good spot. I feel like if you're going to introduce a new team like this and you're having a new phase, you really want to kind of set that phase up before you introduce a new team into it.
Okay.
So I feel as if giving them 2 movies beforehand would kind of set up, and we would get that there's a pattern. We'd say, oh, okay, this is the cosmic phase. We can tell from these 2 movies, and that would allow them to push in the Eternals, and we would kind of know what to expect-ish, with that. That's just me thinking out, whatever. So, I think it's gonna be Doctor Strange and Ant-Man. That's my call.
Oh, okay. Disagree. I think that we're going to get Doctor Strange on May 1st, and I think November 6th is going to be the Eternals. And the reason I say that is because they've been talking about the Eternals a lot lately, and I actually saw they cast someone. They cast, I think it was Robb Stark from Game of Thrones as one of the characters today. And so that seems to be moving forward. And the fact that it's a November release date makes me think they're not as confident in it, which means it's probably a new property. That's either Shang-Chi or the Eternals, and the Eternals seems to be much farther along than Shang-Chi. So I think they're going to do that there. And I also think that they're focusing on smaller stories, so it's not as important what the phase is doing as a whole.
Okay. And that would probably put Shang-Chi at November 5th in 2021.
Yeah, either November or February. I'm not really sure.
I feel like February is actually starting to become a big month for movies. I know that used to, I feel like there was never really big movies in January and February, personally. But now, lately, within the past couple of years, we've had some pretty big movies come out then.
Yeah, it's starting to become more and more a place that you can be confident to place movies. There still isn't a whole lot that's released around there, so you're still safe to do that. But it's a good place to... It's like November, but people go more than they do in November, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So...
And I kind of agree. The more I think you're probably right, especially if... I could see Eternals. I didn't really think about the month. The month plays a really big part into it, and I didn't really think about that.
All right, so what are you thinking about the next year, 2021?
Okay. February 12th, I think they're going to keep the same aspect that they had before. I think it's going to be Black Panther 2.
Okay.
In February. I think they're going to kind of want to bring it back from the Eternals a little bit. And I think that there's also going to be... I don't think Spider-Man 3. I don't think Thor 4. I think it's gonna be Guardians. So, February 12th, I say Black Panther. May 7th, I say Guardians 3. And November 5th, I say Shang-Chi.
That's exactly what I was thinking. And you were saying that, and I started to say, no, Black Panther is going to be May 7th. Because that's the big summer movie, because it was so successful. But if they release Guardians that year, I think Guardians will be on that May spot, which really leaves you to pick between the other two. And I think Shang-Chi fits more in the November 5th slot because of what we just talked about, which would put Black Panther back in February. And it worked for them before, so why break that?
Exactly. That's my exact thoughts.
All right, going into the final year, 2022.
Okay. This year is tricky. I think... When did the first Guardians movie come out?
The first one, 2014.
When did the second one come out?
2017.
Okay. Okay. Looking at this, I think one of these movies in 2022 is going to be something that we don't know what it is. I don't think it's going to be any of the movies we think are in development. I think it's going to be something new. Okay, in February to start out, no, May 6th, Captain Marvel 2, guaranteed. I'm almost positive that's going to be Captain Marvel 2.
Okay.
I think Spider-Man 3, because it will have been 3 years. So I say that's in July. And for February, Ant-Man.
Okay. I think maybe flip Spider-Man and Captain Marvel, but other than that, yeah.
Okay. So what's your reasoning for switching them?
I think that Spider-Man is going to be a bigger name for them than Captain Marvel. I know Captain Marvel made a lot of money, but I think they're going to want to come out of the gate with Spider-Man in May. I mean, they're both summer releases, so it doesn't really matter, but July 29th is starting to come towards the end of it, and I think they're going to be betting that Captain Marvel can carry that, and they want to front-load Spider-Man. But like I said, it could go either way. I think that the way we have these planned out now, it makes a lot of sense. Because if you go back to 2020, Doctor Strange 2, the first one was released in 2016, which means that will be 4 years after his first outing. I don't think any of the solo movies have had a gap that large. That said, he has appeared in 2 movies in between, so that helps. 2021 with Black Panther, that will put that at 3 years. Guardians 3, that'll put that at 4 years, actually. And then 2022, Ant-Man 3, that would put that at 4. Wait, let me think about this.
4 years.
That came out in 18. Yeah, okay, so that'd be 4 years. Spider-Man would be
3 years.
3. And then Captain Marvel would be
3.
Yeah, so that makes sense. I mean, some of these they might shift around, but typically we get solo movies roughly every 3 years because that allows them to bring out a variety of characters and movies and still being able to do Avengers movies in between, which is interesting that they only announced... Well, they didn't even announce these. I think it was in some release or something they did. They've only announced through 2022. Last time they did a big release like this, they announced like the whole next 5 years.
Yeah, and Caleb, the more I look at this, I don't think... I don't know which one I want to... I don't think Ant-Man's actually going to be in February 18th. I think they're going to actually introduce a new character there.
I just don't think so. I think the fact that they're potentially introducing a new character both previous years, that's enough because they don't necessarily do a new character every year, at least not up until this point. They started to because they needed to add characters so that when the existing ones disappear, we have them. But like if you look at the release calendar, the first one would have been Ant-Man back in 2015. The next year we did get Doctor Strange. Technically, in the next year in 2017, we got Spider-Man Homecoming, but he was already in Civil War, which was in 2016. 2018, well, you know, I said that, but actually, the past several years, they have been doing new characters, but I think they've been doing that to fill the roster. I don't think at this point they're going to want to do that.
I actually think you're right, but I said that, and then I realized I shouldn't have thought that. I think they're going to introduce another new character. However, I don't think it's going to be like a solo movie for that character. And this is my thoughts. I think in Guardians 3, they're going to introduce Adam Warlock, and I think he's going to be a major player on this phase.
I agree that they'll introduce him. I don't know if he'll be a major player in the phase, just because I don't see this phase as being nearly as connected as the previous 3. I think that they're going to back away from that and do more personal stories. And I think it'll be a while before we get another Avengers film. I mean, at the very earliest, it's going to be 2023. But I think they might wait till 2024 or 2025 before we get the next Avengers film.
I agree. And I would love... I would love there to be a Nova movie to come out within the next 3 years, but I don't think it's going to happen.
He could potentially be part of Guardians, though.
That's true, but like we've talked about before, it was either Kevin Feige or, oh my goodness.
James Gunn?
James Gunn. He doesn't like Nova.
Yeah,
right?
it's James Gunn.
Yeah, James Gunn. So that, and especially since he's leading the phase, that kind of makes me, stray away, from there being a Nova movie. But it'd be really cool to see him in the Guardians because you have Captain Marvel that's such a big hitter, and she's so powered right now, in my opinion. There's no other heroes that really, could combat her. Not that they fight, but you know what I mean. But Nova would complement her so well.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, maybe Nova's, in the Captain Marvel movie. That would make way more sense.
It does make sense, but the only thing now I'm thinking about it is Nova too similar to Captain Marvel?
I thought about that. I actually watched a video on that. Somebody was comparing them, and I don't think they are. Because Captain Marvel is, whole power... Okay. Alright, Captain Marvel's powers are more... No, Nova's powers are more energy-based, right? And he can... The more I talk myself out of it. I want to say no, but everything I'm trying to say to just argue with you is not working. It's just...
I mean, it could work to have them both around, but when they're making decisions, I don't know if they're going to pick him just because they are pretty similar, from what I know of them.
And the question is, how would they even bring him in? The Nova Corps is destroyed, isn't it?
Yeah, the Nova Corps is presumably destroyed. We don't know if everybody's dead. We just know that he ransacked Xandar, so maybe?
Okay. Well, if you had to choose, Caleb, a completely new property to come out in the next phase, excluding X-Men and Fantastic Four, what would you like to see?
Alright, this is tough, because at this point, excluding X-Men and Fantastic Four, they've done all their big names. They've even done a lot of their second-tier names. So, what do I want them to do? And I'm thinking, and nothing immediately comes to mind. I'm trying to look around my room to see what we have. And most of the characters have either been in movies or they've been in TV shows, or they're characters that are related to main characters.
Okay.
I don't know. Sorry, I'm still looking.
You're good.
Oh, I don't know. I think it would be a lot of fun to do just a crazy off the wall character, like a Howard the Duck type thing.
Yeah.
Or a MODOK type thing, or something like that. I don't think they will. I think they're going to leave that for Disney Plus and for Hulu with the Offenders. But that would be fun to see. I would like to see something just completely different.
You know what I really want to see?
What's that?
I don't think it'll happen in this phase because it's not really a cosmic character. I don't know if it'll ever happen in the MCU, but I would love to see the Ghost Rider in the MCU. I think it's such a different character.
Well, he's been in S.H.I.E.L.D., right?
Yes, I did know that.
And he's getting his own TV show, right?
No, did not know that.
Yeah, they announced that, I think it was last week. There's actually 2 new TV shows coming. Ghost Rider is getting his own TV show on Hulu. It's going to be the same actor, so it's the same Ghost Rider. And,
wait, on Hulu? Why not save it for Disney Plus?
I don't know. This is part of their expanding their, partnership with Hulu after, The Runaways.
Huh.
Alright, let me see. Ghost Rider and Hellstrom, which I don't know who Hellstrom is, to be honest.
I'm gonna look up a picture of Hellstrom because I've never heard of him, but he sounds like a cool character.
Yeah, I think he might be related to Ghost Rider in some way.
Okay. Hellstrom, Marvel. Whoa. Okay. Imagine Namor, but on fire.
So I googled Hellstrom, and all I got were pictures of Ghost Rider.
No, you gotta look up Hellstrom Marvel. And it's Hell, Hell, and then STROM.
I copied it. So
yeah,
Hellstrom comic. There we go.
It literally looks like Namor, but on fire. To me.
Well, according to this comic cover, he's the son of Satan.
Well, that would explain the file.
And he's got a pentagram on his chest, so...
Yes.
Okay, so he probably is related to Ghost Rider. I'm surprised they're doing those as two separate shows.
Well, maybe the plan is to do them as two separate shows. That way, if they both do good, they can converge them together to make one show. Or, if one does bad, they can just ditch that show and only stick with the other one.
You know what's interesting about this, though, is that not only are they doing it on Hulu, but this is connected to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is connected to the movies. And the only other thing on Hulu thus far has been The Runaways. And while I haven't seen Season 2, Season 1 didn't really have any direct call-outs to say that it is or isn't in the MCU. I'm assuming it is, because everything is. But
yeah,
now we'll have something that is pretty definitively set in the MCU and something that is maybe sort of set in the MCU on Hulu.
Well, now going back to what I said I would like to see, because you threw me for a complete 180, I would love for them to either have Ghost Rider for season 2 and then pull it to Disney Plus, okay? I really want to see this on Disney Plus, and I don't know why, but I want them to introduce Blade and Moon Knight and have Ghost Rider on a team.
Oh, okay. I would actually be down... I would really be down for something Blade. And I think Blade actually would work really well as a TV show versus a movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's definitely something that can be done in lower budget and still look really, really good. Ghost Rider I'm a little worried about because it's shots in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It kind of looked really CGI-ish.
Have you seen The Runaways?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so...
Not season 2.
What?
Not season 2.
Okay, but they've got the dinosaur in there, and it looks really good.
It does look really good. That's true. And Moon Knight, I think Moon Knight's the perfect character for a TV show.
Yeah, I know a lot of people want to see him. I honestly don't know too much about him myself. I get the gist of who he is. He's sort of like Marvel's Batman to an extent. But for me, out of those three, I would rather actually see Blade.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I like the old Blade movies a lot, and I think they could do something really interesting with him. They could do real horror, and that's something that the Marvel shows and movies haven't really tackled yet.
Okay. Yeah, I think, so you said Moon Knight was kind of like Batman. Kind of. He's more closely associated, if you were gonna associate him with a DC character, he's more closely associated with, Azrael from the Arkham Knight, if you're familiar who that is.
Which is associated with Batman.
Well, yes. Yeah, I was just trying to show off my knowledge. Anyways.
Go ahead.
I think they're extremely similar. Not identical at all, but very similar. And actually, out of those three, Moon Knight is actually the one I want to see the most, because he's unlike a character that we've seen before. Yes, Blade is too. However, we've got to see a movie adaptation of Blade already, and yes, it was good, but I think Moon Knight could just do better, honestly.
I will say, it would be fun to see more costumed heroes in the MCU, because honestly, we don't really have many at all. If you think through the list, you've got really Spider-Man. I think is the only... Spider-Man and Captain America are the only costumed heroes.
Thor?
The others are either like sets of armor. Thor's is a set of armor.
Oh, okay.
Or it's like a military jumpsuit, like Black Widow and Hawkeye. And
you have Scarlet Witch. It's a costume.
Okay, you're right. Scarlet Witch's is closer to a costume. And Black Panther's is sort of in between. It is kind of a costume, but it's also really a suit of armor.
Yeah.
But honestly, there aren't that many. I mean, like Doctor Strange, his is just robes. It's like a traditional garb. The Guardians just wear whatever they want to wear. You know, Ant-Man's is a containment suit, so that's more of a suit than a costume. You know,
I would say the only other one would be Vision, because he can change how he looks. But even then, it's not necessarily a costume, because, I mean, it's him.
right. So it would be, I think we're used to seeing ridiculous things. So it would be cool to see more people dress up and get that aspect, because that's something we haven't really gotten at all in the MCU.
I want to, and this sounds stupid, I want more capes. Like, I don't know why. I think there's, when you have capes and like fight scenes and stuff like that, you can do some really cool things, and I think it looks really cool. And also, I think capes add a level of drama that
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that we don't have a lot of now. Yes, you have Doctor Strange with like his robes, but Doctor Strange is really the scene that sticks out like being very dramatic to me in the MCU is whenever Doctor Strange picks up the cape and throws it over his shoulder and it goes in like slow motion.
Yeah.
You know, that scene like really sticks out to me. And it's not like I love capes and I just adore them. I just think capes like are more costumey like we're talking about. And so
Haven't
maybe
you
that's
seen
just
The
what I want.
Incredibles?
You're right. Capes always get you killed. You're right. I mean, you're not wrong. But, yeah.
Well, the thing is, Marvel doesn't have that many capes to begin with. Most of the characters don't. We've already got 3 capes in the MCU. We've got Doctor Strange cloak, which I'll count as a cape. We've got Thor's cape, and we've got Vision's cape.
True.
So, I'm trying to think of other characters that have a cape. Doctor Doom has a cape.
Moon Knight.
Moon Knight has a cape.
It's more like a...
It's more like a cloak.
It's like Doctor Strange, but yeah. You know
I can't think of any more.
Marvel characters with capes.
Right, there aren't that many. Capes are more of a DC thing.
Yeah, and that's true. I don't know why. Okay, yeah, every single character that popped up. I said Marvel, guys. Okay. But, a lot of X-Men, like, you know, like Magneto.
Yeah,
a lot of villains.
There's a lot of capes or cape-like things in the X-Men.
Yeah. That's the answer. We just need the X-Men.
Well, there you go.
Boom, Marvel. Make it happen.
All right, Jacob, really quick. If there's one thing that you would like to see the MCU do moving forward, what would it be?
Oh, no. Like new property, existing property, team-ups?
One thing. What would you like it to do?
Oh, no. One thing. Ooh. I'm gonna do this because no one's expecting it. It's gonna be weird. I want to see a movie that has Black Panther and Spider-Man teaming up.
Okay. Technically, we got that in Endgame. We shouldn't see them together.
Yeah, I want that like more. Like I want stealth missions with them both. I want them to basically be taken somewhere and have to like escape, but also like figure something out. And I don't know. I think they're both really cool, agile characters that could really work well together.
Interesting. Okay, I like that.
And I want to see that some more. What about you?
For me, I just want to see things get weirder. I think I've mentioned this before. I want to see weird comic book stuff. Like the alternate dimension monster in Guardians 2. Love it. Time travel. I don't really like the way they did it, but love the idea. Alternate dimensions. Totally down. I want to see all that weird galactic stuff, weird cosmic stuff. Weird is the name of the game. That's what I want.
Very interesting. But I like it.
And I think we'll get that with Doctor Strange 2 and the Eternals. And probably Guardians 3.
I agree. I mean, if we're bringing in Wheel, just go ahead and bring in MODOK for the villain.
Yes, do it.
Do what must be done.
But MODOK is going to Hulu, so who knows?
True.
Or ABC. Whichever one thing is going to. Maybe I'm losing track at this point.
I think, no, it's Disney Plus. Definitely Disney
Okay.
Plus. Yeah.
Cool. All right, Jacob. Well, that was that. And this is this. It's time for what you've been up to.
What have I been up to, Kayla? Well, I could say this, and I could say that, and I could say that, and I could say this. But in reality, absolutely nothing. I really haven't been doing that much. I've kind of been hanging out with friends, getting out, into the town and going to some new places, which has been kind of cool. Really cool. Kind of getting out of my eggshell a little bit from the school year.
Okay.
Did go to this really cool place called Southside Social. It's a restaurant / bar where once you go and you buy food, you have free access to pool tables, ping pong tables. They have a bowling alley, shuffleboard, darts, arcade games, tons of stuff.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I spent $16, maybe $18 for like 6 hours of fun.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah, it was awesome. So that was really fun.
How did it compare to the pinball place we went?
Okay, so it's less of an arcade. Really, the arcade games, they have like 3 or 4. One of them is an X-Men game, which was pretty cool.
Okay.
But it's really more of like, if you think in the movies, kind of like when you go to a bar and they have pool tables and darts.
Yeah.
But think super, super upscaled. Like really, really nice. There's not like people stumbling everywhere and spilling their drinks, and it's really high class bar area.
So almost like a Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, a little similar to that. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and they had like cornhole outside, and it was just a really cool atmosphere. Other than that, today I just started watching Naruto again. I had taken a week or 2 break from that. Except for me, and I won't say any spoilers, but Nick, my best friend, I just watched last night the Jiraiya story arc with him.
Yeah,
and I really wanted to see that with him, and it was totally worth it.
Did you know what happened in that?
Yes, yeah, I'm already past that.
Okay.
Yeah, so he didn't know at all. So watching his facial expressions were quite amazing.
Nice.
And then the last thing is I've watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine on Hulu. I've gotten into that. That's really, really good. And the last thing is I did watch all of The Act on Netflix.
All of what?
It's called The Act.
APT?
ACT.
Act. Oh. That's
Act.
the one about the
Gypsy
girl.
Rose.
Yeah.
Yep.
The girl that, well, I don't know if I should spoil it if people, that's the only reason to watch it. It's about the girl that ends up killing her mom.
Yeah. Yeah, she's in a wheelchair for her whole life, and there's lots of plot twists, and the show was amazingly done. It was really, really good, and it kept you in everything, and it described everything. Fantastic show. Don't watch it with your family.
Were you familiar with the story before you saw the show?
I knew about half of the case before going in.
Okay, so Courtney... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I didn't really know what happened at the end. I knew a lot of the beginning of the case, but I didn't really know what happened at the end.
Okay, so Courtney and I think, have listened to a podcast on this, and we also watched a documentary about it. So we know a lot about it, so it's on my watch list. I'm curious to see how it is when we get to it. I think it's only like 6 episodes, right?
It is 7 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah. Really good. I highly recommend it. But yeah, that's basically all I've been up to. Caleb, that was what I've been up to. What about you?
That was a lot for not having done anything.
Sorry, I started remembering things as I talked.
So I've also been watching Naruto. I don't know exactly where you are. Where are you?
I am Pain is still in the village.
Okay. Yeah, so you got a while. Courtney and I are almost done.
Oh man.
Not watching fillers. We have about 50 episodes until the end of the series. Although I know that I've read the manga, so I know how the manga ends. There's a point in the manga where it basically ends, and there's one more chapter, and it's an epilogue. From my understanding, in the anime, they do sort of what they did with the original series, where you get to the end of the series, and then there's other episodes, and then at the very end they do the epilogue. Only in this case, the other episodes are still canon, they just aren't from the manga. They're from some novels that were released that the author was part of. So, just to get to the actual end part of the manga, we've got about 35 episodes left.
Wow. I'm watching fillers, which I shouldn't be, but I am. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I did not realize you guys were that close.
Don't watch fillers, man. I mean, if you want to go back later and watch them, do, but they just drag the story down. Like I've literally been skipping fillers, and in the past it's been like, oh, it picks up from where the filler left off. And the ones we've been watching, it's like, oh, it's like we didn't even miss anything. It literally picks right back up where we were.
Wow. Wow. Well, that's awesome. I'm kind of upset, but that's cool.
Nope, I told you before not to watch fillers, but anyway. And of course, we are still watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I heard, I don't watch it, but I've actually heard the beginning of this season was really good, but then the past episode or two have kind of been a letdown.
Disagree, but I know why people feel that way.
Okay. So you're enjoying it so far?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. There's 2 episodes left.
Ooh.
And then it's
excited?
over. Yeah. The last episode wasn't what I expected it to be, but I still thought it was good. I know that there's some plot things that people are concerned about, but I don't really think it's a big deal.
Well, that's awesome, man. As soon as it's over, then all those side shows will start.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
the spin-offs.
Spin-offs. Yeah, are you planning to watch those?
It sort of depends on what they are and what the trailers look like. We'll see. I'll probably at least check them out, but whether or not I stick with them, it'll depend on the quality.
Fair enough, man. I get that.
And that's all I have been up to.
Yeah, Caleb. I mean, me and you have been up to not a lot, but you know who has been up to a lot?
Before we actually go there,
man.
I did want to plug what we've got coming up. So at the top of the episode, you guys have been hearing we're in movie madness, and there has been a couple weeks here or there where we haven't had a movie. But right now, starting next week, is when things really kick into gear. We are going to be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks in a row of movies that are releasing in theaters. Then we have a week off, and then we have another movie. And then we've got more movies after that, but they're not as back-to-back. Movies like, next week, Detective Pikachu, John Wick 3, Aladdin, Godzilla 2, Dark Phoenix, Men in Black, Toy Story, Spider-Man Far From Home, The Lion King, New Mutants, which actually got moved to next year, so that'll probably be Fast and the Furious spin-off. If we do that one. I don't know if we'll do that. But we've got a lot of movies coming up, so if you're into the movies, like most people are, come back, make sure you check us out. We're going to be talking about all of them. Some of them I've got to catch up on movies for. I've got to watch Kong for Godzilla. I've got to watch John Wick 2 for John Wick 3. If I would have thought about it, I would have done a whole mini-series on the animated Pokemon movies for Detective Pikachu. But, yeah, that would take a long time. So, probably good we're not doing that.
Yeah, probably so.
But anyway, come check those out.
Can I do it now? Yeah, you can do it now. Okay, awesome. Caleb, just like Pikachu, you know who else is electrifying?
Who, Jacob?
Taylor Pool.
Tell me of this Taylor Pool.
Taylor Pool, the amazing Pokemon that you will not be able to catch because he's just so quick and smart for you, has written this intro music for this podcast, and we absolutely love it, like we tell you guys every week. Go ahead and visit him on the internet at taylorpoolmusic.com. That's TAYLORPOOLE music.com.
And please check out our friends, the CNC Power Hour, over on Twitch, where they stream Magic the Gathering on Sundays and video games, usually on Saturdays.
And while you're at it, why not go ahead and head on over to our website? It has an awesome layout. It's the easiest way to share our podcast and to tell people to go to listen to it.
Thanks for listening to 'Cause We're Nerds. Stay up to date with all the nerdy news and podcast drops by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also leave us comments and feedback at cuzwerenerds@gmail.com. That's CUZWERENERDS@gmail.com. And as always, if you enjoy this podcast, we would love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Next week, the first ever live-action Pokemon movie appears with Detective Pikachu. Will the titular pocket monsters be adorable or creepy? Will it finally do a video game movie justice? And is this the start of our newest cinematic universe? Find out next week on 'Cause We're Nerds. And as always, stay nerdy.
Pika Pika! Silence. I was trying to think in my head, I was like, what does Pikachu sound like? I was like, I'm gonna just wing it. Pika Pika! Oh my god.
That wasn't very good.
No, yours was like Pikachu going through, like, puberty as a guy. No, it's okay. I mean,
Pika.
Nice.
Pika Pika. Oh my goodness. That was like Charizard impersonating a Pikachu.
Oh my goodness. That has to be in the movie now. There has to be Charizard trying to impersonate Pikachu and Pikachu trying to impersonate Charizard.
Oh, it could be Gengar. That could totally be Gengar.
Oh, yes.